Folks, we are live. Welcome to Gamers Health, the place where we hang out with our community once a week, Saturday nights, 8 p.m. I am Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the USR. With me, as every Saturday night, live, is my lovely wife, Rach.
How you doing?
So just so you know, we both took showers before the show just to make sure that we were in
Tip top
tip
shape.
top shape. And I know, I need a haircut, and my mother's been telling me, and Rich is telling me, and everybody's telling me. So, uh, Shadow, welcome. Don, welcome. Mercurius, Alicius, welcome up here. And at the moment, Don, thank you. We think it's an interesting topic. We've got a showing. We actually have visual aids ready.
Right. We actually prepared a little something something.
Ah, don't get spoiled
Mm.
now. Tom, welcome as always. Uh, yeah, Don, I think you know. All right, so here's a little background. I think I never enjoyed getting haircuts, but
Oh yeah, there was a sort of an enlightenment this
yeah.
week.
So I've
Last night.
I've
Yeah.
never enjoyed getting haircuts, but Rach and I were comparing radiation notes. So
Yeah,
Tammy,
we were comparing cancer journeys.
you'll get your
None
update
of them will be
shortly
the
from Rach.
same.
Yeah, you'll get your update shortly from Rach. So when I was going through uh, my Hodgkin's journey, I had chemo, which I handled relatively well, and the hair in my head didn't go anywhere. The hair in my body all went. I had no eyelashes. I had no armpit hair and any other hair you could
Oh.
think of. But even my feet lost the little hair they had. But my head just it the head hair stayed. Don't know why. So when and I had bought all these hats in preparation.
No.
But when I had radiation both in the chest and on the left side here, because this was the lymph node, the tumor that had been the signal that, hey, there's some shit going on with you. Go see a doc. Um, Now was when I was biopsy, but not removed. So when I had the radiation, the effect was that I lost hair within like 3 or 4 days. There's like a ridge here. So what I had to do is literally every maybe it's every like 5 or 6 days. It was more than once a week. I went down to my barber and I get my haircut and shaved on both. It was the weirdest haircut. I looked like I was trying to be a lot younger, shaving the sides of my head because you had to get the two sides to match.
Mm.
So then in retirement, the first thing that I tried to do was what did I try to do, Richie, besides grow this wonderful goatee?
Oh, you tried to grow a ponytail.
And it took the wisdom of like a 6-year-old to go, Uncle, yeah, yeah, the beard looks okay, but I don't think you're ever gonna grow a,
I don't
a
think that ponytail's
ponytail.
ever gonna happen for
Yeah,
you.
I was like, son of a bitch. I guess I got to get my hair. So I understand now my reluctance to get my hair cut. It's a process. Um, and it's funny because I used to enjoy actually getting the blade, the long razor, and
Oh,
get
for your
shave,
shave.
get my shave, and I don't even think anybody does that anymore. So God help us.
Mm.
So Rach and I both have a bit of a health journey to talk about this week, but well, I know. Tammy's like, "How's Rach? How's Rach? Give us the update. We want to hear how the fight is doing."
The fight is going really well. I think we've killed a lot of cancer cells
And why does Rach say that?
because I have I I have and I sit here, I laugh. I'm so sorry. I have some really burnt skin. I have, and let's see, I have a blister, and some just very tender skin. So I think we've burnt through a few layers.
We're getting
So,
rid of it. If it
and
offends
I guess
you,
that's why
burn it
they tell.
off.
I guess that's why they tell you don't shave during it, because like when you shave, you lose at least a layer of skin. So
You have layers you can't afford to lose.
yeah, not that I shave my chest, but I shave my armpits, and you get it there too, like under your armpits. That's where my big blister is. Um, but yeah, it's starting to feel the radiation burn, and you know what? But honestly, like if that's the worst thing, hopefully this is the worst that it gets. They do say it can get worse, like up to a week or two after radiation, but probably more like a week, because I only had it's only 20 sessions, like 15 um like whole breast radiation sessions, and then the 5 boosters, which I have 2 left on Monday and Tuesday.
So almost done.
Yeah, so we're almost done with it, and yeah, I kind of want it over so that I can move through this. I just keep applying my cream. I think they said that what they give you, like when your skin is like really really bad, is something that I think I'm allergic to anyway. So either they find something else, or I just keep moving. Either way, I just have to keep moving. But yeah, that's probably the worst thing about it.
I gotta say, for some reason, and now this is where I'm gonna show my age. I have the part of the F Troop theme song going through my head right now.
What is F Troop?
You don't know what F Troop? F Troop?
I've heard the name of it, but I don't know that I know.
It,
Is this some army thing?
Yeah,
is it a German army?
No,
thing?
no.
No,
This is like army, like out, like I don't know, the 1850s. I think it's before the Civil War. They're out in the West. They're out in this fort, and it's a really weird ass comedy.
Oh, it's a comedy.
Yes. Right. Yeah, Don's like, what? Ray doesn't know F Troop, but the part and Don, you got to forgive me. The audience is gonna have to forgive me, but the part of the theme song that's going through my head right now is when when pale skin and when pale face and red skin both turn chicken, and
well, we've got pale skin and red skin all in one.
So that's why I was like, oh my god, this is going through my head right now. This is not good. I'm a bad boy. Oh god. So we've had that journey. We had the oh shit! I've got an appointment this week at 12:00, the same day that Rach has an appointment.
Oh yeah, we planned it that way because
I forgot the podiatrist one.
Oh,
we had my
oh yeah,
my endocrinologist. Rach was able to move my appointment when she went to her appointment, and that was good. But I had 2 appointments, unbeknownst to me, on the same day, plus Rachel's, which would have made 3, and then we were able to do one of mine and one of and Rachel's one. So no, actually no, that was not no, we had 3 on Tuesday, but one got moved. That's my heart failure specialist. That got bumped to next month. Thank God. But yeah, I forgot that Thursday, so I had to make a phone call and they moved it. I mean, it's just that you got so many moving parts going on that you start forgetting.
Yeah, we have 3 appointments for me this week. It's the 2 radiations and then the primary care.
Yeah.
I'll show him my war wounds.
Look at this. You can't miss this.
Can you believe it?
I'm gonna flash you. Yeah. Damn, that's red. But hey, Rach, can I call you Pocahontas now, or is that only reserved for senators?
I would never want to step on her territory.
Okay, I just wanted to. I was just, it was coming to my head. I was thinking about it. So so another curveball. This was a self-inflicted curveball, but I didn't know how big a curveball it was going to be. Was I changed my pharmacy plan because my union plan, which is a good plan, and for the NYPD organizations, the SBA, my organization, the Sergeants Benevolent Association, had or has probably the strongest prescription plan. But when you're on like nine different meds and five of them are name brand meds,
Well, it's still on patent stuff.
still on
Yeah.
patent, no generics. Sometimes you got to think out of the box, and I had to think out of the
No
box.
dun-dun-duns here.
No duntuns here. So,
Everything I take dun-dun-duns. Even my cancer meds, dun-dun-duns.
so what happened? And I tried doing this by phone, and usually they tell you, oh, customer, if you ever have a problem, always take care of it by phone. Deal with a person. Don't do an email. Always deal with a person. Well, the problem is, my problem is that the two systems had different dates of birth for me, off by one day. One was like the first. Once I realized that there was a problem, and it's the same company, just different divisions that's handling this. I made phone calls on the second, and very pleasant people.
Oh.
And suffice to say, nothing happened. But then it occurred to me, I go, you know what? Let me use their internal uh, communication customer service system. And apparently, that actually gets to people who can fix problems. Because within 24 hours, my two accounts were merged and my prescriptions were good, except for the one that needs prior authorization, which was authorized prior, but now is going to have to get resubmitted for prior authorization under the new plan from the same administrator. Makes a lot of sense to me. Doesn't it make sense to you? Um, I gotta say, um, I can see from what Rachel and I have gone through with illnesses. Like when I had my Hodgkins and I was having the port removed, and that went to shit, and they had to bring a surgeon in that wasn't on the list, wasn't part of the initial people on the list, and I got a hit with a bill of
Oh,
it's
that's the
going back,
worst.
I don't know, 16 years or so, 17 years ago. I get hit with a bill for $11,000 because the insurance wasn't paying. And I called up the doctor's office, and the receptionist, who happened to be the doctor's wife, um, was the surgeon's wife, was like, just send us the bill. I go, what? She goes, just send us the bill. You don't have to worry about it. We'll take care of it. So thank God for that. But there are things like with Rachel's procedures, when they removed the tumor, there was a part of that procedure that
Yeah.
they denied
But
the
you know
day
what?
after.
By God's grace, it hasn't come back to bite me yet. I haven't seen it in my MyChart account.
But they denied. We got the denial the day after the procedure was done. Um,
Maybe it's just taking the hospital a little more time
oh, I think you got
to catch up with
there's
it.
an appeal going on. I think
Oh, okay.
that came today. They don't say what there's an
Gotcha.
appeal exactly
Uh
on,
huh.
but there's an appeal going on. So apparently, it's to notify you that
Whatever the
there's
fuck.
an appeal going on there.
Insurance companies suck major ass.
All right, we're going to rescind what we did. We're going to put it back in. It doesn't work that doesn't quite work that way. So we have that little bit of info. Now, our Guardian, we don't have pictures. I think that we're going to have to on the gaming health.
Actually, before we move to the Guardian,
Yeah.
um, I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you Um,
Thank you.
yes, to Don and um, I guess Tim Katz and anyone else who is involved in creating or
Publishing or
publishing,
buying
buying
it.
that book, um,
The Gary Con,
buying the Gary Con.
uh,
How do you say it?
Tim. It's the Tim
The
Cast.
Adventures of Gary Con.
Yeah,
Um,
the Tim Cast written ones.
yes. Just thank you so much. Like it just proves that community can be a very healing thing, and to have people come together and you know like want to support something like that and support me. um I'm very touched by that, and yeah, it's very helpful to me, especially since they're gonna be looking for their money soon.
Be a fighting, damn it,
Yeah.
be a fight, yo, bro. No, you're right. No, it really it is very special, and that's part of the reason why uh, getting this website up. Don did the all the legwork, all the behind the scenes, and it was so emotional when Don told me. I literally cried because it means that much to me, and it means that you all mean that much to me. Uh, Despite a few naysayers out there who can naysay all they want. Um, Dom, you're happy to have donated, and there'll be more coming as we sell more books. Also, it was
Nice.
Tim's and my pleasures.
Thank you.
So, I mean, that's really what community is about, right? I mean, and listen, I got a link on the bottom of the screen, but I'm really going to throw one up real quick and Seb, just because it's important too. There's a GoFundMe going on right now.
Oh yeah.
For Ben Shields. Ben was 19 when he took his life on New Year's Eve, almost a week ago. So the GoFundMe is doing pretty well. I think it's raised, I want to say 7,000. I really should check. So hold on. It's raised almost 7,500. All right. So I'm getting choked up. So, as for the tavern, we offered to match the first 250 that our taverners raised, or up to first 250. And this GoFundMe went up on Monday, I believe, and Tuesday. Within 24 hours, I was already putting matching funds up. That's the kind of community that we are part of. So this is a shortened link because I figure if you're watching this channel, 10 cars tavern.games is easy to remember /Ben. And there's a suicide hotline number. That is a number that you can call or text if you're in the States. If you have any of those thoughts that you
Right.
feel are
Sometimes
dangerous.
hearing about it can be very triggering.
Yeah. Suicide touches not just the person that does the deed and makes that final decision. It touches the family that's left behind, the friends that are left behind, and it leaves people with the questions of what did I miss? How could I have helped? What didn't I do? Everybody shoulders blame for stuff that is not there to take blame for, but human nature is if I don't understand something and why it happened,
Right. Then
then
why couldn't I fix it? Thing.
now I've gone to because of the job,
Yeah.
being a cop, a number of funerals for people that I knew that committed suicide. And it's never, ever. I mean, I go, we go to lots of wakes and funerals, right? And there's, death happens, and
It's
there's
it's understandable,
when it's a suicide,
but that
there's
is beyond often.
there is this atmosphere that hangs over those gatherings
Yeah.
that you just. And the first one I did for a fellow cop was sadly one I barely knew was the property officer in the 401 precinct when we were there. And that one was just, we literally, the precinct closed down for a day, and the borough task force, which was usually used for crowd control and other stuff or other emergencies throughout the city, took over patrol for 24 hours, so everybody that was assigned to the precinct could go to the funeral and pay respects. And you have no words you can give a family in that case. There's nothing you can say. So if you can support, if you can help, okay, Ben is the child of James Shields. And if you've ever met James, you've seen his art. James is the most decent, supportive individual you are going to find in this community. And any help you can give,
very sweet, humble.
Any help you can give is certainly huge. So after that bit of beat you up, we're going to go over to the Gardein, which
a little lighter something.
Little lighter. We're gonna. I think that we're gonna begin to be speaking with Don. We're speaking to Don right now. We're gonna need a section on gamers' health where we can put photos up of our harvest, our inside farm.
That and pictures of our smoothies.
Oh yeah, so that's two different things we got to talk about.
Yeah. I've been reading. I read a book about like anti-cancer. Well, it was specific to breast cancer, but anti-cancer smoothies and nutrition for survivorship and that kind of thing. And so, I got really into it. I was like, oh, next week I'm going to take out the Ninja from under the counter and set it up and whatever.
We have no.
And I don't know.
This is a New York City home. Okay?
He started panicking, I guess, and he's like, "Well, maybe we can find a small blender."
And it's just like, "There's no small blender that can handle that. There's nothing."
I'm like, "No, that motor's not gonna be able to do it."
No. So I found one on Amazon. Okay, that is USB-C chargeable. And I was like, this is perfect. Doesn't have to have a huge base out all the time. And Rachel's like, oh, it ain't gonna work. I go,
I'm like, that thing. I was like, it's just a mixer for your like protein shakes. And because especially when he said, oh, it's a USB powered thing.
I know, rechargeable. She's like, no, rechargeable.
I was like, oh, I'm sure that's not really gonna work, but we'll see, and then it ended up working really nicely.
Rach, you're leaving out something. So now you did all this reading on making these shakes.
Yeah.
Who's made all the shakes so far?
My hubby man.
Who has not looked in a book at all to make them?
Well, we got the right shit.
Yes.
And, you throw all the right shit in.
It's like when I
just
cook.
Mix and match your stuff, and then you're good.
Yeah. When you bake, you have to measure, but when you cook, you don't need to measure. And this is close to the cooking. So made some very, very good shakes, and it breaks up the ice.
We got more fruit, so I can't wait to make a pineapple matcha smoothie. That's gonna be good.
Don wants to say that, and he's let you know about a man named Matt Sherman. Matt wanted us to ensure Rach got his $20 refund donated to her. He offered that without any prompt.
That's very sweet.
Tom, your death is not your own. A family in Gray, Maine, paid to have their son's body returned during the Civil War, and when the coffin arrived, they opened it. The uniform on the body was gray. Oh, so it was Confederate.
Oh, wow.
The town took it upon itself to bury him and erect a headstone and make sure the grave was decorated with flowers.
Oh.
And someone even wrote a poem about it. So, going back to our Gardein, we have had tomatoes that we have now put into our salads. We have harvested one pepper while it's still green, but now our peppers are getting sweeter because they're turning red. They're going to be really sweet. They would be nice. Jalapenos. We actually got avocados this past shopping
Yeah, so that we can
excursion.
make some guacamole.
Strawberries.
Mm-hmm.
The mint is doing really well. The basil is doing really well.
We ordered some new stuff.
Yeah, so it's really
Like holy basil was one of the things that they called for in the smoothies. So we're gonna grow some of that.
yeah. So I mean, it really we got it a bit on a whim as our graduation gift to ourselves.
You mean
Graduation, our anniversary. We graduated. Our anniversary gift to ourselves, and I don't think we could have done better. My mother is very impressed.
She loves it.
Yeah, I think if it wasn't for the high price tag, she'd be like, I could find room for it down here. But it is certainly we've harvested so much lettuce from it, and I can
Yeah, that's the
harvest.
best part.
Oh man, there's not. I don't even want store bought lettuce ever again if I can get away with it. This lettuce is just perfect, perfect. I tell you, how perfect, very perfect. So, but I think is there anything else that we need to update people on?
I'm not too sure.
I don't know. Let me see. Weather sucks, but we're not getting the storm that that they initially thought New York City might get. Might have gotten. I can hear a little sleet coming down, but there's no real accumulations. I know the Poconos.
I don't know. I heard somebody shoveling outside. Maybe it was Siggy.
Yeah, I don't know. It might. I got to get it before it melts. Figure the Poconos I was looking at about I don't know 7 to 11 inches. New York City has escaped snow for a while, so we shall see. I'm sure that the powers that be are happy that we've escaped snow because one of the biggest costs in the wintertime in New York City is the overtime for sanitation. Oh my god. All right, so I'm gonna put something up on the screen and it's gonna say New York on it. Ignore the New York part. But that's because it is state specific in certain ways.
Right. So he's introducing the topic of the evening, which revolves around advanced directives and living wills, and sort of end of life decision making.
Right now, and I know it's like oh man, it's cutting like half of Rachel's head off.
That's okay.
And I know people are
They
going.
know what I look like.
And then somebody's going.
Let's see. I can be over here.
I can't read it. Listen, go to caringinfo.org. You will be able to find it for your own state. We're just putting it up on the screen for now to give you a visual of what.
Yeah. Also AARP.
What's that? AARP.
That's the link for
AARP sends you to here.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's how I found it through AARP.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't think I can make it. See now it doesn't get any bigger. So maybe it gets a little bit bigger. Not much bigger. I mean, if I put this onto my main screen, then I won't see any of you guys and gals. That would suck. I wouldn't be able to know if they're all commenting.
Well, you know what, and by and large, probably they don't live in New York, but yeah. So I guess what we could do is kind of just start off kind of talking about things. So, advanced directives are pretty much like people get confused between what's a living will and what's advanced directives. In a lot of states, it's the same thing. It just really depends on the language that your state uses. A lot of times people will use advanced directives to encapsulate.
Well, advanced healthcare direct.
Advanced directives in healthcare.
Oh, okay.
Or related to health.
Yeah, over here it said advanced healthcare directive.
Yeah. It can that phrase can encapsulate things like living wills and um, DNRs, DNIs. We'll get there. Um, and power of attorney and things like that. So, um, yeah, it just really depends on language that your state uses. Um, but yeah, so like, there are certain um, things that go into end of life planning. And it's interesting. I remember, why don't we start with healthcare proxy? Because that's probably one of the first things that you do is you want to be able to choose somebody that you trust to um, adhere to your values and your values related to a life that you want to live. Um,
Right.
and someone that can respect them, like your healthcare proxy might be your spouse, a family member. If you're on your own, maybe somebody through your religious community. It's definitely not someone on your healthcare team.
Right.
Yeah.
Now,
And then it's generally not, the person who is going to be making like certain financial
right
decisions and things like that.
you want to keep that separate.
Yeah.
Now, according to caringinfo.org, it lets you name someone as your agent to make decisions about your health care, including decisions about life-sustaining treatment. If you can no longer speak for yourself, it doesn't necessarily mean that it only comes into place when it's treatment that is end of life. If you are um, in a coma or drug induced with your injuries, and they need to speak with somebody who can make decisions about your treatment because you can't, that's when this comes into place. And some people think that healthcare proxies are all about end of life or situations like that. It is not. It is for when you cannot speak. Maybe you are
right. Sometimes people think of it as, oh, living wills are for people who are terminally ill. Yeah, it can be that way. However, you may want it's really making decisions about how you want your medical care to go and what medical interventions you feel okay about having done and what ones you don't. And it can really be anything. Like, they're very personal. Like, it's not just like don't do anything or do everything.
right.
There's many variations in between, and we'll get to talk about that. Like,
Well,
certain
I'll give the summary
yeah.
that they give here. It lets you state your wishes about health care in the event that you can no longer speak for yourself. It also allows you to record your organ donation wishes, pain relief, funeral, and other advanced planning wishes. If you also complete part 1, your living will is an important source of guidance for your agent or your healthcare proxy. And they keep on saying the most important thing is you got to sign this shit. Because if you don't sign it, and by the way, I'm going to repeat that later on. If you don't sign it, it's not valid.
Right.
So,
and then also, like, in terms of this healthcare proxy, there's a lot of different language that goes to this as well, depending on the state. So it could be power of attorney for medical care. It could be, like he says, agent, healthcare agent, things like that.
Don says in Michigan you can also use a tiered proxy, so you can assign a spouse to primary, and then another person X if your spouse cannot, etc.
Right. So we have that too. I think a lot of states have that, where you might have one primary and then like several alternates.
Now, this might have changed in New York State. I'm going to guess it probably has. But when I came on the job, if you, as a police officer acting in accordance to your duties, came across a scene where there was a victim, or it could be from a car accident, could be from a crime, that was unable to speak for themselves, you were their voice.
Mm.
You were their voice in the operating room. It was a huge. They drilled that at us into the academy, and they're like, "Listen,
Mm.
you're going to make decisions that you're going to make so that the family can get there. But in the meantime, the law needs an impartial individual, and that will be you." And
Mhm.
it's like, oh, geez, never got involved in that, thank God. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
they had to go through any possible scenario.
yeah. So you were an unintended healthcare proxy, potentially.
Mm. Yeah,
So
and you had to be ready.
yeah,
So, um, so living wills are pretty much legally binding documents that basically spell out how you want um your medical care to look as you are getting ready to make your exit. And there's a lot of different medical interventions that you may want to discuss with your doctor, like what kinds of things, like if they did them, what's the, could somebody recover from that? There's a lot of different nuances that a lot of people cover. And so like some people say no to everything, and then some people say no to some things and yes to others. But I'm just going to give you a few main points of things that you want to be aware of what they are, so that if you needed your doctor to tell you about what they mean and what they mean with your illness, or whatever's going on, that you can be able to say.
now
So,
New York State has this stuff as form fillable PDFs,
yeah,
and they like Rachel's talking, like you can choose. Uh,
yeah. So I'm gonna read some of the things that you might want to,
yep,
explore with your doctor, and understand and explore with your family, and you know, um, your family or your spiritual or religious community. Um, so things like cardiopulmonary resuscitation, um, being on a mechanical vent.
now it's up on the screen right now. I made it a little bit larger. Um,
Things like tube. Do you want to be tube fed?
artificial nutrition.
Yeah, dialysis. Um, and, how long, if you would be open to it, how long would you be open to it for? Um, Comfort care, things like palliative care, like pain management, like is checked in that box. And then also like palliative care being like the pain management, like the ice chips, the people, someone to help you with certain aspects of daily life as you're getting ready to leave, and help your family. Organ and tissue donation, and donating like organs, or donating the body for research. And in this document it also kind of points out for what purposes would you donate your body or your organs, like for research or for transplant. You can check all of them, you can check none of them, or one of them, or whatever you're gonna do.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, New York State lists transplant therapy, research, and education. And you can say, I do not want to give any, uh, and do not want my agent, guardian, or family to make a donation on my behalf.
Yeah.
I give any needed organs, or I give the following organs, tissues, or parts only. And then you can designate only for transplant, only for
Right.
therapy.
And then
It's very detailed, actually.
yeah, it is. It's huge. And so like being able to talk about those concepts like with your religious, or spiritual community, how do we feel about these interventions, and or your family, your doctor, what could be expected from having been through these kind of interventions. um you know Another thing too, like with we hear about DNR or DNI a lot in the living wills. you know there is room for that, like in the first couple of points about, do you want to be resuscitated. um this document can have DNR or DNI in it also. um but something too that's important is to make sure that your doctor, or that each hospital that you're treated at, has that on file for you. So even if it's you know you can have a DNR or a DNI without a living will.
Right.
So just to bear that in mind.
But I think
And that's something that you do at each institution.
and that's something I
Yeah.
want to point out.
Go ahead.
You kind of think that I already filled one out. Like in 2020, I was hospitalized 3 times, 3 different
However,
hospitals.
it didn't follow you to each hospital, so they had to do.
And each time I had to do a new proxy, healthcare proxy. Now,
that
what?
should follow.
It didn't follow.
Oh, you know why too? Because
they're all 3 different systems.
Right.
I was in the city system. I was in the Long Island Jewish Northwell Health, and then I was in the Long Island Catholic. So I was in 3 different hospital systems, and it wasn't going to follow me. Now, that being said, all right, and I don't want to be morbid to anybody, but if this stuff is important to you, all right, honestly, you should have this with you when you go traveling.
Yeah, they say to take it traveling. They say to have like a little card in your wallet that says, who your healthcare proxy is, who, where you have your living will.
Yep.
Those kinds of things.
They say on the website, have it in a safe place, but not a safe. It has to be. It has to be accessible.
Not too safe now.
It has to be.
They got to find it.
Right. It has to be accessible.
Yeah.
So, again, New York State does not have a central repository for this. I don't know if certain states do.
I don't think there's a registry.
It would make a lot
of
sense.
It would. But too, it's something that's interesting about these is like you can redo them as life circumstances change.
Right.
Somebody else passes away, your diagnosis changes, you just after 10 years you have some other religious experience, and you don't think about life in the same way you used to.
Right.
And so there is a process through which that you can change them, and
so
it's good to review.
Tammy, I don't know about other states, but here in Maine, when your spouse dies and is an organ donor, you are asked a long list of questions, some very personal. It was the same day my first husband passed. At each hospital in Maine and at your doctors, they ask you about health proxy and living wills at every visit. They don't in New York, I'll tell you that. You can file them at major hospitals with
when
the patient.
You go for surgery, they do.
Yeah, with the patient rights advocate. That's Don. Excuse me. Chattel, enjoy your dinner.
Good to see you.
Always. So, I mean, this is important stuff, folks. And it's stuff that, listen, we don't, as a general rule, as human beings, we don't like dealing with this stuff. We don't like thinking about this stuff. But the reality is, even if you don't like talking about it, you should make your wishes known to your better half. Rach and I pretty much, know what the other one would want, and where we draw the line. Um, but those are never easy discussions to have, and that's human nature. It's human nature, but you got to have it. You world will throw you curveballs when you least expect it.
Yeah, well,
You know, sometimes they're knuckleballs, but you really have no idea which way they're going. The best thing you can do is be prepared.
mm-hmm.
Honestly, Tammy, tough conversations now will help your loved ones sit easier with those decisions later.
Definitely.
Exactly, because here's the thing, too, right? The worst thing you can do for somebody, and many of us have gone through this, is have to make decisions for a loved one, and you don't know what they would want, right? And now you're like, and because then you start making decisions based upon what you think you would want, or I think they would want. No, you should know. You should know. Again, it's not easy. It's not
Mm-hmm.
pleasant. It is not. It is a
And there are
discomforting conversation.
conversations that come up, like as other family members start to experience, their getting ready for their exit. Whether
Yeah,
that be through like dementia or uh, other terminal illnesses where you have warning and a lot more time to prep and plan and help them through.
so this was a follow up to last week. We thought it was just too much of an impact last week for us to
Right.
include this
It's
with it.
almost two separate topics. Like I felt
Yeah,
it was important to separate the experiential um um people's story from sort of, oh well, that illustrates how you do. Yeah.
always make sure you have a living
Yeah,
will.
so we just wanted to have like the more businessy
Aspects going
yeah, the more
separately.
nitty gritty, like um what to do part
Yeah,
to be separate.
and again, it isn't easy. None of this is an easy topic. Tammy and Don were spot on amazing last week,
Yeah, thank you so much.
sharing not only from their heart but their experiences and
Yeah.
uh, really bearing themselves
Mm-hmm.
and letting others know that, hey, oh, other people have had to make those decisions, and it wasn't easy, right? It wasn't. It wasn't like, yeah, no, it's not. It, and to to oh God, I swear to God, I want to reach out and punch some dumb uh, because yes, it's a hard decision when you have to make it for your pet.
Yes.
It is, but it's magnitudes of a
Right.
different
Well, I don't look at
experience.
it as some dumb, I mean, maybe, but I feel like that's like more like you offer that because you yourself can't even fathom
I
what that
guess.
would be like, especially if you have a child yourself or, you know, yeah.
You know,
I
uh,
think that that's just where the person was coming from,
understand and
wanting to be empathic, but it was just, I think it's too scary for some people to really let that in
and
there, or
yeah,
to really grasp it, in the same way.
Don, your show, I think, at least for me, allowed me to talk about it. Sometimes being able to talk or vent helps far more than many think. I can
Sure.
listen. It's right. We all think you watch a TV show about cops, right? And what do you always see them telling war stories? in a bar, right? Why do they tell war stories in a bar? Because
They're
that's how
processing.
they're processing it. They're dealing with
Hmm.
stuff. And I talk. I mean, here I am, 20 plus years later. Oh my, I 24 years later, maybe, with the kid
The
that I
child,
lost, the one that I
yeah.
lost, and the
Yeah.
one that I didn't lose a
Yeah.
few years later. I still get choked up over that stuff. So, but because of the occupation, you got to be able to put it to the side. But that's not real life. All right? That's not the experience of dealing with it. And
Well, right, you're not living you're not living it fully and you're not
no,
experiencing it fully because you can't. Or else
yeah,
every call would be an emotional wreck, an emotional disaster, you know?
yeah. Tammy, anytime I can help someone else or offer hope from what
Yeah.
I have experienced, always feels good. The experiences were tragic, but helping
Yeah.
is healing. Oh, that's the whole point. That's the whole
Absolutely.
point to this channel, right?
Yeah.
Rach and I are going through health journeys. Okay, congestive heart failure. Like I was telling Rach last night, hey, I've already beaten the odds once you because the historic odds of a retired cop of any age making it 5 years was less than 50-50. But I've beaten those odds. I'm retired now for coming up on 8 years, and I'm healthier than I was prior to retirement, even though I have congestive heart failure. And why is that? Well, because knowledge is power.
Yeah.
Okay. And having that knowledge of you have this shit going on with you, and like my heart failure specialist told me, the damage had been there for years. He was like, there's no new damage here. This damage was here, and your heart was just compensating. And one day it was going to stop compensating unless you found a way to help it. So I am helping it. And that's the knowledge that we're trying to impart is that these journeys that many of us think are ours alone, it's our burden to bear and carry that load. Well, no, you can share it with people. And by doing so, the load becomes shared and it becomes a shared experience. Um,
Right, because like the more separate we try to be, the more that's like I don't know that the delusion of separation is just that, you
yeah.
know. Where like we're also interrelated and we need each other
I was
to get through this stuff.
communicating with someone via PMs, and they told me like I can't believe that Gamers Health isn't more successful, doesn't have a higher viewership. You speak about real stuff and stuff that impacts people, and it's something that everybody should be getting something out of. But the reality is, we talk about reality, and I mean, listen, that's not where everybody wants to be. And by growing this community, even in small steps, which we're going to be doing with the help of Don, um, hopefully we find a way to impact more people. I've said this before, and I'll say this again. I went into my prior career in law enforcement saying if I can change one life for the better, turn one life around, I'm a success story. I did my 20 years were worth it, and I know I did that. I had somebody that I had arrested give me that knowledge that I had turned their life around, and I have that same type of goal, same type of attitude with this channel and specifically this live stream, Gamers Health. If we can,
If we could provide some sort of comfort and help and
yeah,
healing, then you know.
if we can extend one person's life, if we can give one person comfort, if one person can go, oh my God, I am not the only one going through this.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes, eating healthy is hard to
It's
do.
rough. We say we want to and we really try, but then
I mean, like listen. tonight for dinner, Rach and I had a guilty pleasure, which we made as healthy as we could. All right, we ordered from a Mexican place in the area, which we've often ordered from before, and we get their salad bowls, and they're awesome.
And they are so
And like
yummy.
it's like a burrito salad bowl without the breading and without the rice. But today, I was like, you know what, I want a burrito.
Yeah, I just went to him and I asked, I'm hungry. I'm very hungry.
So I said, all right, let's get burritos with brown rice and a whole wheat tortilla. And you know what? It was a guilty pleasure, but I had with white meat chicken that was grilled. We had fajita vegetables, and we had lettuce,
Black beans.
black beans, and was it the perfect dinner? No.
Could have been a hell of a lot worse. Yeah.
Yeah, we've eaten a hell of a lot worse, and that really got my my feeling of, well, I really would have liked to have gotten, oh, I don't know, a Wendy's Baconator. I
I
didn't,
can't have those baconators anymore. They give me such a heartburn. It's
but
so bad.
I didn't have. I was so satisfied from this. It was so delicious, so filling, and
Mm.
I didn't feel too much guilt because I knew I had made good choices within it.
Mm-hmm.
Evil Cheers, welcome. But in Evil Cheese, you can understand the concept of you spend your career, if you can help one life for the better, then your career was a success, and that's, this is my new career. I'm a pundit on the internet talking about games, and once a week we take it a bit seriously. We talk about gamers' health, and it's, in a lot of ways it's more successful than I expected it to be. That's because we have an amazing community, but you know, it's nobody wants. I shouldn't say nobody. A lot of people that are in denial don't want to hear the truth about health journeys because it starts striking like similarity and like, oh, that's a familiar note. I've gone through that. Oh, that's a sign of, you know denial. We did an episode on denial. This is what many with healthy or unhealthy gamers, denial is part of it. Ah, you're working your off-duty gig right now. Oh, God bless you. He goes, I eat chicken and rice a lot, Greek yogurt, granola, and fruit in the mornings.
Mm.
Yeah, you can make healthier choices. You're never gonna hear me say, "Well, you gotta eat X, Y, and Z. You gotta make the healthy choice." No, you make a healthier choice. You do it in increments, okay, and that gets you
Until
there.
you can get to the time where you're like, yeah, I can't wait to have that healthy thing.
Yeah,
Instead of that,
right.
instead of that baconator.
Instead of the baconator, oh, that baconator. Oh, sorry. Actually, I think the thing I like the most about Wendy's is the Coca-Cola machines that allow you
Yeah,
to.
me too. That's the
I
best
can have
part.
any flavor I want. I want Diet Dr. Pepper,
Cherry vanilla.
cherry vanilla. Oh, it tastes divine. It is bad for me, but it's so good. So yeah. Well, folks, we actually did this episode on time today.
Yeah, good stuff.
Didn't expect that to happen. Honestly, I mean, I didn't think we're going to be on time. We're going to shock the hell out of people. I think we're going to wrap it up. Um, Thank you so much. Thanks so much to everybody who spent time with us. New Year's Eve, that was a
Oh
huge
yeah, what
success.
a blast.
Um, if you have any suggestions for topics you want us to cover, drop it in the comments below. And we're going to. I think this coming week, as things start settling down, we're going to start kicking off some things here at the tavern, and I'm going to start commenting and adding stuff to the Gamers Health website, gamershealthonline.com. Okay, and caringinfo.org for your living wills and such. It's really a good resource. We'll make sure that gets up on the website later. But all right, folks. Good night.
Good night.
God
Thank you
bless.
so much.
We'll catch you all later.